Shalom Aleichem Internet. My name is Rabbi Sandor Gajzinski. I hope everybody is healthy and well. Here is the weekly TorahByte. This week's Torah portion is Parshat Devarim, the very first Torah portion in the book of Devarim, the book of Deuteronomy. However, what is perhaps even better known than the Torah portion is the Haftorah of this week, because it names the entire Shabbat. The Haftorah is Chazon Yeshayahu, the vision of Isaiah, and it names the Shabbat. The Shabbat is called Shabbat Chazon, the Shabbat of the vision. And the reason why this particular Haftorah gets a lot of focus is because this is the Shabbat that precedes the 9th of Av, Tisha B'Av, the saddest day on the Jewish calendar, the day that is the anniversary of the destruction of both temples. Among other sad things, today is the 9th of Av is, for good reason, the saddest day on the calendar. And this Haftorah leads into this anniversary by being an admonishment from Isaiah, rebuking and berating the people for their bad behavior and warning them that if they don't turn back, there will be some severe consequences. So that this is both a historical reference as well as to us a reminder that as we approach the saddest day, that there's a lot we need to work on in ourselves to be better. This also is reflected in the Torah portion, because Moshe, in this first Torah portion of the book of Deuteronomy, and to a certain degree Moshe is at the end of his life and he's embarking on a soliloquy, on his swan song, knowing that he will be passing away soon, and so he starts talking to the people. And his message in the beginning of this Torah portion is focusing on various moments along their journey through the desert. And for the most part, he focuses on the lowlights, the moments that we were not at our best, where we failed. He references the story of the spies and the story of the Korach's rebellion, our complaints about the manna, our complaints about water, and obviously our greatest failure, the golden calf. So one could walk away assuming that the theme of this entire Shabbat is one of rebuke and admonishment, and therefore our feelings should be one of anxiety and sadness and remorse, shame and guilt, etc. What's interesting to note is that there is a very famous thought by Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Berditchev, one of the great Hasidic rabbis, associated with Shabbat Chazon, and he says that it is a Shabbos of the vision for a very different reason. He says, by way of metaphor, that a young boy is truly beloved by his father, and his father, who loves him so deeply, decides to buy him a beautiful garment. And this boy is so excited with the garment, he puts it on, and he loves it. It's wonderful, it's beautiful, and he's doing everything. And as little boys do, he eventually gets a little too rambunctious, and he tears the garment, he destroys it. And he comes back to his father full of shame and sadness, and he shows his father what he did to the garment. His father's not happy. His father rebukes him and admonishes him, but his father, because he loves him, goes out and buys him a second garment. And he warns him, please be careful with this. And the boy tries very hard to make good on his promise to his father to take care of the garment, and he does so for quite a long time. But then eventually, boys will be boys, and he becomes wild and rambunctious while wearing this garment, and sure enough, he destroys the second garment. He comes back to his father with the torn garment, abused garment, and he shows it to his father, and his father's upset. But his father loves his son, and so his father goes out and he buys him a third garment. But this time, he does not just hand the garment to the young child. Rather, he puts it aside in the closet. And he tells the child, it's sitting here in the closet, and when you will show me that you are ready for it, then I will happily give it to you. And you show me that you have developed the maturity and the sensitivity and the care needed to treat this properly, I will give it to you. Now, the father understands that out of sight, out of mind, and if this will just sit in the closet, then the child might forget that it even exists, that the promise of this garment is still there. So every once in a while, the father takes the garment out of the closet and he shows it to the child, reminding the child of the great gift that awaits him if he will just show his father that he is ready. And that, says Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Berditchev, is Shabbat Chazon. This is the Shabbos that God, after He gave us the first temple and we didn't treat it properly and it was destroyed, and then He gave us the second temple and we didn't treat it properly and it was destroyed, went ahead and has a third temple waiting for us. But He is saying to us, show me that you're ready to receive it, and then I will be happy to give it to you. Show me that you're ready to treat it properly. And so that we should not forget that it is sitting there waiting for us, this third magnificent temple. Once a year, God takes it and provides us a vision of it. He allows us to see this spectacular temple that is awaiting us, so that we once again become motivated. And that is this Shabbos, Shabbos of the vision of the temple, which sets a whole different tone and theme to the Shabbos, not one where it's about rebuke and admonishment and to cut one down, but the opposite, to provide one hope and aspirations and empowerment. This could be yours. Just make it happen. It's reliant on you. Which, as Moshe in this week's Parsha, and how careful he is with his rebuke, as Isaiah, as anybody who loves you and has to give you rebuke because of behavior unbecoming, still at the end of the day is doing so out of love, with the hope that this rebuke or this admonishment will be a catalyst to better behavior, and so that we, in turn, the ones who are receiving these words, should not take it negatively, but rather should understand the love in which these words are given to us, to then look inside, to feel empowered, to feel hopeful that if this person who I love is giving me these words, they are not only does it show they have not given up hope on me, but they are trying to provide me direction and guidance on how to fix myself up and in fact elevate myself. And so the lesson and the message is very important. Number one, on behalf of the person giving the rebuke or admonishment, in Yiddish we call a verbal jab a shtach, a shtech, which is a reference to the Yiddish word for injection. It's a sharp jab. Now, an injection is a very, when necessary, a very healthy process, a process of healing. Except as the sixth Chabad Rebbe said, very interestingly, he says that one gives a shtach, when one gives such an injection, they have to be very careful that it is sterilized of all foreign substances. And only then is it a process of healing. When we give a verbal jab, when we give rebuke, are we sure we are doing so sterilized of any angst or anger or ulterior motives, and we are simply doing it for the sake of the individual and their healing? And then, important, on behalf of the one receiving the rebuke, understand that when you are hearing oftentimes critical words that seem negative and harsh, it is not so. Somebody is trying to give you direction. Somebody is trying to lead you towards a better circumstance and situation. And so as we find ourselves in a sense in the nadir of the year, the lowest point of the year, where we are dealing with the anniversary of the destructions of the temple, we should look and see the positive potential that is here, that any moment now we can change the narrative, we can change the situation. We are going to see the temple that is waiting for us, and if we will be responsible, we will be better in the way that God knows we can, in the way that the prophets and Moshe knows we can. Then we will change the narrative, we will change the story, and we will not only see a vision of the temple, but we will receive it. And this year, Tisha B'Av will not be the saddest day on the Jewish calendar, but the happiest day on the Jewish calendar, because we will be able to celebrate the day in the newly built third temple as it comes down from heaven, and we will be able to go with all our loved ones and only know a peace for the entire world. May we see it speedily in our days. Shabbat Shalom.